high mountains to all the Mesilla Valley, reaching all of New Mexico. Broadcasting live from the Las Cruces studios, bringing you the issues that matter and the topics that count. Telling it like it is. It's the Mike Tellez Show. And now here's your host, Mike Tellez.
Thank you for joining me today. My name is Mike Tellez. I tell you what, we have got a guest today, Ronnie Sisneros. You know, there's some, I got to be honest up front about Ronnie. We are from the same town, many, many years back, but we're from the same town, Roswell, and you know, we have a lot in common in knowing that area and knowing, you know, our hearts are here, but that's where we ultimately were raised, and it might have been tough, but Ronnie, you're running for city council.
Yes.
You're brave, brother.
Thank you.
You know, when I heard that, I said, that is amazing. I said, okay. So, and what made you decide to run for city council, Ronnie?
Well, a lot of reasons. Me and my wife, when we originally moved here to Las Cruces about 17 years ago, when we came, you know, everything was, you know how Las Cruces was back then. It's very quiet, very small little town.
It's a nice town.
Exactly, small little town. Everybody got along with each other and things of the like. But as we know, everything has changed.
Yes,
it's changed. It has not changed for the better. And so what I'd like to do is I want to throw in my hat, so to speak, and I want to be on the city council, and I want to make some consistent changes. I want a representation of some common sense, reasonable municipal government being returned back to Las Cruces.
I'm telling you, I've been here 25 years, and I agree, man. Mm-hmm. The town, you know, in the state, we always looked at Las Cruces as the place to move to.
Yes.
You know, I'm an Aggie. I'm an Aggie through and through, man. But I tell you what, this was the town. Yes. I remember in Roswell, let's say I'm moving to Las Cruces. I'm going to go to NMSU. And you know what? I'll tell you what, I love this town. And when I moved here, it was awesome. We have things that are different now, but my goodness, have we veered from the beaten path, man. I'm not kidding, we've veered.
Yes.
You know,
unfortunately so.
Crime wasn't like that.
It is non-existent practically.
It was, I mean, there was a grip on what was going on.
Yes, very much so.
Our police force was pretty healthy. I believe we were competitive nationwide in their pay back then.
Yes. Yes.
We just let it slip and go away.
As a matter of fact, when I originally came here, because by trade I'm an occupational therapy assistant, and I went to school there in Roswell, and then I went to school there in Tellez, and I got my bachelor's degree there in Tellez, New Mexico. And I was brought down here to work with patients here in the long-term care facility as an occupational therapy assistant, and really Las Cruces was the place that they were paying good wages. They were paying good wages. And it was literally superior to really all over the state, actually. Mm-hmm. And now that has completely dropped out.
Yeah.
Completely dropped out.
And so that is your occupation then?
Yes.
Well, that's pretty good. Because, you know, I've been pushing for long-term mental health care, substance abuse. So you know exactly, that area.
Yes, very much so. There's people, that's one of those things that's close to my heart. Because in the field that I do work in, I do work with people that do suffer from schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, all kinds of depression, and everything from all kinds of abnormal mental disorders that they really suffer from their entire life. And what I've seen here in Las Cruces, because I've been living here for 17 years, and what I've seen here is a change. And that change has come under the guise of what they call chemical and restraint free. And it's people that were suffering mentally. But because of this change that has come across, literally, I think the entire healthcare industry, is that they don't want people to be under medication. They want them to be having counselors and things of the like. And as a result of that, people, what do we have here in Las Cruces? The homeless population. And what those people that are living in deplorable conditions, bad conditions, they cannot take care of themselves. They need help. I remember I approached my supervisor one day, and I said, "Do you think it'll ever change?" I said, "Do you think it'll ever change?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Why won't it change?" He says, "Because of things that happened in the past." And I said, "Well, what things are you talking about?" And of course, they'd say one instance here, one instance that occurred at some facility, and as a result of that, an entire knee-jerk reaction came to wipe out the entire needs of people who were suffering from mental illness, so they just began to shutter the doors all the way across the state, in regards to mental health facilities. And what it is now, that they only get 72 hours of mental health, and they release them right back out, right back on. That's nothing. That's nothing. When they haven't been eating properly, they haven't been bathing properly, they don't have proper clothes, they're living on the streets. Yes, they have, and we commend the things that we have here in Las Cruces. Las Cruces is a great city.
Yeah.
The city of hope.
But I certainly think that we could do a lot better than just trying to put a Band-Aid on this.
There you go.
There is a problem. We need to address it. And you hit the nail on the head right there. We have got to take care of the needs of the mental health issues. We got buildings here. You're talking about them closing down?
Yes.
There are facilities that are turnkey ready to open back up.
Exactly.
We need long-term care for mental health needs.
Exactly.
I've spent the last 2 months out in the streets because my mission is to end that problem. They say it can't be ended, but you know what? I'm going to die trying.
You know what? I commend you for that, Mike, because you know what? I'm behind you, and I'll support that effort. When I'm elected City Council District 5, I will support any effort that will help these people that are living in deplorable conditions, because the reality of the matter is they cannot help themselves.
No.
They cannot.
And some of them
they need some help.
Hooked on blues. That's the designer one. They are so hooked on drugs that, they say, well, they don't want help. Well, you know what? They don't want help because they're not all there right now.
No.
They're messed up on fentanyl. And you know what? When they're drinking and got a good buzz, who thinks they need help? No one.
Nobody.
So you know what? These guys are already at that point where, hey,
but
leave
then
me alone,
one day goes into two days goes into three.
It's a way of life
exactly.
after that, and that's
then
what we have.
A week goes into a month goes into a year, and then it's just a pattern.
And all we have to do is look at California to see what the end result starts looking like.
Exactly.
Look at some of these states around the country, how they've collapsed.
And one of the things I'd like to address that with is that we can address the needs of these people, but we can address it with not only sympathy, but we can address it with empathy as well. We can address it with empathy because there are thousands of healthcare professionals, doctors, psychologists, who love to work with these type of people, who love to work with them, and they like to see the gains that can be made, but knee-jerk reactions, we need to get rid of that nonsense.
You know what? Let's pay them this much money and they'll stay out of trouble. I talked to a person on the street.
Pay them,
on the street, he said, I've gotten high every single day of the week since that unemployment check started coming. And I said, you got unemployment? All you got to do is fill it out. I said, well, when was the last time you worked? I ain't worked in years and years. But they got it. You know that we've got solutions right in front of us. We don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No,
we've got therapists. We have got
nurses,
all the ingredients.
Nurses, yes, sir.
All we got to do is put them in the right thing. We got a brand new hospital there on Main Street, right? I can't imagine it hasn't been done, but chances are it hasn't. Why don't we go there and say, you know what? Let's work together and let's put together a detox wing in here to where we can get them detoxed and then put them in long-term services.
Exactly. Not only, so that because it doesn't solve anything for these 3-day type of situation. It doesn't solve anything at all. If anything, it just makes it worse because as soon as they come right back out, they need to have some education. They need to have some skills.
Help
they need to have
reintroduce
some
them into society.
Exactly.
Get them into school, get them a job, get them clothes, get them where they feel good about themselves. Because they won't realize where they're at until they're totally detoxed out. Then they'll say, man.
That they can't believe that they were living like that they were living under this bridge, they were living in this culvert, that they were walking around with a blanket.
I did that.
I was doing that.
And then who do we have to go out and help us? The guys who came from there.
Exactly.
Because, I hear well, they have a sad story. I said, you know what? We all have sad stories.
Yes.
We just got to find a way to help them out of it and through it. And then reintegrate them into society, help them go to school, help them get a job, and just
get a job.
Stay with them and not leave them.
Exactly.
3
Stay
days
with
and out?
No.
Nothing. They don't
Doesn't
even
solve
remember your
anything.
name.
No.
But you know, you go in 3 months, 6 months, even a 12-month to where you actually are a mentor to them, all the way out of it and into their next life, and then keep an eye and check.
Why can't we do that for Americans? Why can't we do that?
That's what I'm asking.
Because everybody seems to think that, okay, well, we can't do this, we can't do that. Well, why can't we?
But we're doing
we did it. We did it
foreign
before.
countries right now.
Exactly. We did it before. We did help them. That's part of Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, and Medicaid was a specific indigent fund that was designed by the federal government.
Yes.
Because to do this, in all reality, we would need not only help, of course, city government, but we need help the state government and the federal government to get on board.
And there's billions right there to do it. You know, it's not a lack of money. It's a lack of wanting to do something about it.
Yeah.
It may not have the glory, but you know what? If we could get a long-term facility for mental health and substance abuse, the chief of police, I talked to him a few years back, and he said 98% of all the crime is mental health and substance abuse.
I believe
98.
that.
Now,
I believe that 100%.
look at how much crime we would knock off
Exactly.
if we just addressed those issues that have been in our face for years, and we keep ignoring them.
And now they're getting worse. That's another reason, like I said, to go back to me running for city council. Because Las Cruces, everything that I'm hearing, Las Cruces is only going to grow by population, by increasing numbers. It has literally doubled in population in about maybe 15 to 20 years. It's doubled in population.
Yeah.
Right now, the city of Las Cruces has 115,000 people in it, 220,000 in the county. That's a lot of people. It's the second biggest city in the state. Second largest, it's the largest county population-wise in the entire state, and we've got to do something.
Yes.
But we need common sense approaches to this. We don't need knee-jerk reactions, and not only that, but we need people that are going to stay the course, so to speak. We need people that are going to stay the course, and they're going to say, okay, well, what are we going to do this for? Because we're going to help these people. With us as citizens, helping these people helps us.
Yes.
It helps a business, because this person now becomes a productive citizen because he is no longer roaming the streets. He or she, unfortunately, getting benefits, but they're not being a productive member of society. Right. What they're doing is they're where are they camping themselves out? I know when I came here in Las Cruces, and I know it wasn't like here in the 80s, because I came here in the 80s all the time. And you never saw homeless people walking around like they are right now. Never. I just
shopping
never saw.
Carts everywhere.
Yeah, shopping carts where they're
all
sleeping.
All this stuff is abandoned.
They're sleeping in shopping carts, and they need help. They do need help. And we need city and state and federal government leaders who are willing to come up to the bar to say, yes, I will help these people, but not with this. Come up, 3 days like we were talking about. We need long-term solutions for them.
I agree with that, man. And you know what? We have, like I've said, everything in place. We just need people who are aggressive enough to say, hey, let's take on this monster first.
Yes.
Then we'll build that dog park for $3 or $4 million. Then we'll go build that brand new bike path for $10 million.
Exactly.
Let's take care of these people. Let's try to let's get them off the streets.
Exactly.
When we return, it's hard to get off this subject, but it is very close to me, and I see it's very close to you because of your degree.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit more with Ronnie Sisneros, who's running for Council District 5 on the Mike Tellez Show.
Did you know that student loans and credit card debt stifle our students' post-secondary and post-collegiate pursuits? Hello, I'm Eloy Francisco Macha, candidate for School Board District 3. Our students will greatly benefit when they are empowered with financial literacy. This will give them the ability and confidence to manage and navigate financial choices they will face, including that of student loans, credit cards, and debt management. With your help, I will implement a financial literacy program that will prepare our students to overcome any financial challenges they may face. I'm Eloy Francisco Macha, School Board District 3.
Paid for by Macho Courthouse. Yes.
If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. That's 866-372-3669.
Mike Tellez Show. My name is Mike Tellez. Boy, do we have a conversation going here with Ronnie Sisneros, who's running for District 5. We are talking about something I've been working on for months. And, it doesn't take long. We talk about mental health, substance abuse needs.
Yes.
You know where it's at, because that's the world you came out of.
Yes.
And so you know that's your education. That's where you've worked. And, man, the crime is horrible in this town.
Yes.
I mean, we're ranking up there. Neighborhood Hub rates us at a 5 out of 100 for safe neighborhoods.
Yes.
Now, they say, well, what do we do? Build more prisons? No. What are the police? We could hire an army to come and do it, but we're talking about where they would go to get help rather than into jail that does no good and prison that does no good. How we can help these people.
Right.
So we're helping construct what our police force can come in and start taking care of the issues.
Yes.
And come in there and say, you know what? We got these facilities right here. We need to detox this guy. We look at him. And, we train our police force better on how to identify the issues. But, man, I think that is awesome, man.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with that, because that is something I've worked on. And once we get that police force, we're 70 short,
Yes.
80 short.
Yes. And when I'm elected to City Council District 5, one of the things that I'm going to be a proponent of, number one, in regards to the police force, I want that to be known specifically. I support the police. I support law enforcement because they are a bedrock of any civilized society and have been for hundreds of years, anywhere in this country and in this world. Number two, if we want qualified officers to be down here, we need to pay them commensurate wages.
Amen. That's for sure.
We need to pay them wages that that is a dangerous job that they're doing. And I'll be honest, I know I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't want to do it. And it is dangerous.
And it is the most thankless job there
yes, it is. And then number three, in regards to all of these rules and regulations, I saw something here, and I'm trying to figure out if it's actually true, in regards to that the police officers here in Las Cruces, if they go out into a domestic violence call, they have to take a counselor with them, and this counselor has to go in there with a drunk individual, a person who's been on drugs or whatever the case may be, and this individual has to assess whether the law enforcement officer can go over there and separate those two people, or he can or he cannot. And I cannot believe literally the redundancy of that type of action, because if, let's just say, for instance, that counselor goes in there and that person, man or woman, turns on the counselor, who's going to save the counselor? Is that the police department have to call another counselor before he can intervene and save the counselor?
To do a double assessment?
Exactly. I mean, that's just...
you come from that area where you do assessments, and could you imagine that?
No.
You don't have nothing on you. You're just going in, a clipboard, and that's it.
Exactly. And then and another thing too, I do not support, and I never have supported, even when I was young, I never have supported armchair quarterbacking the cops and their decisions that they make under dangerous situations. I never have agreed with that. Even when I was young, I didn't agree with that. Yes, have I been pulled over by the police? Yes, I have. I've been pulled over by the police many times all throughout my life. I'm not a young man. What was I pulled over for? What was I, speeding?
Breaking the law.
What was I, seatbelt violation?
Yep.
I might have a broken window or something like that, and I got pulled over by the police department. But what did I do to the police department? Did I give them an attitude? Did I start cursing at them and I say, you're pulling me over just because I'm a Chicano? And this and that. I never did that. And you know what? And that is why to this day I get along with law enforcement, because they're pulling me over because I'm breaking the law. I, as an adult, I have to understand what are we teaching these young kids. So all you have to do is blame it on somebody else. You know, what type of rationale is behind that? It's just idiotic, to be honest.
Yeah.
There is no rationale.
Do you
There's no
remember the
reasoning.
respect? You didn't have a choice when we were growing up.
Yeah.
You get pulled over, yes sir, no
Yes.
sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
And you know, if you were just right, we learned, be right, be respectful, and you know, maybe they'll give you a break, maybe they won't.
Yes.
But you know what? I cannot imagine someone spitting, yelling,
No.
cussing at a policeman.
No.
I could see it. You know, my dad was in law enforcement for 29 years.
State police, right?
He was assistant law enforcement director for the state of New Mexico. That's where he ended up at. And my goodness, I said, all the names they call, don't worry about those names. They're all right. But you know what? We have lost respect for the very people that take care of us and protect us. Can you imagine no police?
You know, no, I can't imagine.
Look how it's gotten just being short.
Yeah,
And not
exactly.
having places where, imagine a policeman arresting the same guy over and over and over, and the judge having to release him because that no bond policy.
Exactly.
I asked a council member at one of their town dealers, you know, they said, well, they did that because it's unfair to poor people. And I said, what's unfair?
I was
Bond.
poor.
And I
I
said,
was very
you know,
poor.
when I tell you, you get arrested, you broke the law. You should think about if it's about being rich or poor, you need to think of that before you break the law.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I agree 100%.
we see excuses, we see everything except solutions.
Exactly.
And, you know, if they only have support, police cannot do it by themselves.
No, they cannot.
We need that dumb law that releases everybody without no bond.
Yes.
We need to work with the courts.
Yes.
And you know, they say, well, you're a city council. What could you possibly do? What I did when I was running for mayor, I walked in and spoke to the judge. I walked in and spoke to the president of the university, the chief. All we got to do is get together, put together a meeting, and you guys go in there and what do we do, guys?
In other words, we need to say that we're tired of all of this.
That's right.
That's why I'm running for city
All
council.
of us are, and
we're
that's
tired of what has been going on. We're tired of this no accountability. We're tired about this irresponsibility. We're tired about individuals making decisions in regards to our rights, our liberties, our freedoms, or whatever the case may be.
We're losing them.
All under the guise of this is not socially appropriate and this is not socially appropriate. But what does that got to do with Las Cruces?
Yep.
What's that got to do with even Nuevo Mexico, New Mexico? What's it got to do with the entire state? It has nothing to do. I, as a city councilor, when I'm elected, I will represent Las Cruces. I'm not going to be
right.
representing anywhere else. I live here. I stay here. I'm not going anywhere else. And Las Cruces is a great city. It is a great city. It is a great historical city, as a matter of fact. It truly is, going back 500 years, you know.
Yeah.
And so we need to hold these individuals accountable, and what we need is some consistency and reasoning and common sense approach to municipal government, period.
Boy, I tell you, that's well said, man.
Yes.
That is well said. And you know what? We can do better.
Yes, absolutely.
Watch, the green chili capital of the world? Man, we need to capitalize on things like that.
Yes.
We need to capitalize on what we have going for us and not let this city is falling apart.
It is. It
And
is,
you know,
unfortunately so.
I think that the city needs to quit ignoring local elections and think, well, I'll vote when the presidential comes
Yes.
up. No, they need to get out and vote. I've been talking to the school board guys. Man, that's 100% of our future.
Yes.
And these guys, some of the school boards have been decided by 100 votes, 200
Yeah.
people voted.
Exactly.
We need to pay attention to our local elections.
Yes.
School board, city council, mayor. Let's secure the home first.
Yes.
Why do we worry so much about something that is so far away from us it really doesn't affect us? They need to get out and vote.
I am a strong proponent of this concept and way of thinking that if we ever have any hope of changing this country around, turning it 180 degrees in regards to all of this social agendas being moved here, social agendas there, and if you're not this, and if you're not this, you must be a racist. If you don't take a knee, you're not this.
Gosh,
if you don't take a
exactly.
knee for the flag, except there must be something wrong with you. That's a bunch of baloney. I ain't for none of that nonsense. And so we need to take a stand. We need to get up and say enough is enough, and we need common sense, conservative-minded people who will stay the course. essentially, who will say, no, I'm not going to yet. You know what? When I'm elected city council, I know that I'm going to have to talk with my fellow city council members, because you're going to have to develop a consensus. You're going to have to develop a consensus.
The world you come from, you've worked with all different types of
social
people
workers, directors of nursing, program managers, physical therapists, occupational therapists, the family members. You have to work with those individuals and those people for the betterment of the patient. For betterment of the patient. And so that's what I will bring to city council.
Is an open mind.
And I truly believe in the concept of the team effort. I truly believe in the concept of
it
team
won't work
effort.
without a team.
No, it will not.
You'll just be one lone rider. You need to get a team, unity.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Ronnie, I'm telling you, man, it's good talking to you. I'm excited, man. You just
thank you.
That's pretty good. I like it. I like your this mental health. You're just looking at things that I believe are destroying the bedrock of our city right now. And that's what we need to do.
Yeah,
man, I'm going to tell you something, brother. Good luck, and we'll get together again real soon.
Right.
And let's see where we're headed and where we're going, man.
Yes.
I sure thank you. I thank you all for joining me with the Mike Tellez Show. I'm going to ask one more time. We have got to vote in local elections. We have got to elect local people. Know your candidate. Get to know them. Don't guess. Don't take anyone's word for it. Don't do it because someone told you. Research them. You know what? Give them a call. Invite them to your house and ask them. I'd be willing to bet that if you called Ronnie here, he'd go to your house and he'd sit down with you and your friends and tell you what he's thinking about.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what? Do it. He's representing your neighborhood, your kids, your world, your life. Call him and ask him, but get out and vote and do your part to help us make Las Cruces the best city to live in. My name is Mike Tellez. I want to thank you for joining us with the Mike Tellez Show.